As the Bears get ready to clash with the Commanders under the bright lights of Monday Night Football, there's one name that's quietly bubbling up in conversations around Hallis Hall: Caleb-Lovelin. A top 10 draft pick, high expectations, and so far, not a whole lot of production. But that might be about to change. This week, there's a real sense that Lovelin could finally be poised for the breakout game fans have been waiting for, and honestly, it couldn't come at a better time for Chicago. Now, let's be fair here. The lack of big numbers from Lovelin so far hasn't been entirely on him. The guy came into the league with all the tools: size, speed, great hands. And for what we've seen in flashes, he still has all of that. But a hip injury knocked him out of week 4, and that kind of disruption can throw off a rhythm before it even really begins. He spoke earlier this week and said he felt good, that he knew the injury wasn't season-ending, and that he was itching to get back out there. That's what you want to hear. A guy who's locked in, hungry, and ready to go. From the way it sounds, Lovelin is a full go for Monday night. And that opens up a lot of possibilities for this Bears offense. Because let's be real, they need more weapons stepping up. Cole Kmet has done his part. Romo Duns has had some big moments already. But Caleb Williams needs that next-level mismatch, that guy who can break the structure of defense. Lovelin has that kind of upside. And if the Bears are serious about taking a step forward on offense, then unleashing Lovelin has to be part of that plan. If you go back to the Dallas game a couple of weeks ago, there were signs that the team wanted to get him involved early. A couple of looks in the scripted portion of the game, one missed throw by Caleb, and another miscommunication. Nothing big, but enough to show that the intention was there. The connection just wasn't. Then came the injury, and suddenly the momentum was gone. But now we might be getting the full picture. Now we might see what this guy can really do. And when you look at the matchup this week, there's reason for optimism. The Commanders' defense has been pretty middle of the road when it comes to covering tight ends. Through 5 weeks, they're ranked 16th in the league against that position. They've allowed over 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns already. More telling than the raw stats, though, is the way they've given up those plays: big gains, explosive plays, missed tackles in space. That's the exact area where Lovelin can shine. You give him room to operate, and he'll do damage. Washington's linebackers are a bit of a mixed bag in coverage. Bobby Wagner, a legend, no doubt, but not quite the player he used to be in space. He's more effective downhill than he is turning and running with a tight end like Lovelin. Frankie Louvu brings energy and physicality, but he's not known for his coverage skills either. He wants a blitz. He wants to stuff the run. That leaves some interesting holes over the middle of the field. And when you factor in that the safeties and slot corners for the Commanders aren't exactly world beaters in man coverage, there's a real opportunity here. There's also a layer of familiarity that could make things even more compelling. One of the guys who might be lined up across from Lovelin is Mike Sainristil, a former teammate. He's mostly played nickel this year, though injuries have forced him into some outside work too. There's a chance he gets matched up with Lovelin in some spots, and that could be a battle worth watching. But let's be honest, this isn't a matchup where Washington has the clear advantage. They don't have that one guy who erases tight ends. And that's exactly why this could be the week where Lovelin makes his mark. The Bears need him. They need that dynamic, over-the-middle threat who can stretch zones, win one-on-one against linebackers, and give Caleb a reliable option when the play breaks down. Lovelin has that skill set. He can be that guy. It's just a matter of health, opportunity, and trust. And with the team starting to ramp him up before the injury, it feels like they were already moving in that direction. So now, coming off the bye, it's time to find out. Of course, this game isn't just about breakout performances. There's also the mental side of things, the discipline, the details, and that's where the Bears have been hurting themselves way too often this season. Penalties have been a real issue, especially in key moments. We're talking bottom 5 in both total penalties per game and penalty yardage. That's a recipe for losing close games, especially against solid teams like Washington that can capitalize on your mistakes. Go back to that Week 1 loss against Minnesota. The Bears took an early 7-0 lead, then completely lost momentum because of dumb penalties. Pre-snap stuff, illegal formations, false starts, the kind of errors that kill drives before they even begin. That game could have looked very different if Chicago had just cleaned up the basic stuff. And unfortunately, That's been a pattern. Week 2, 8 penalties. Week 3, 6. Then back up to 8 in Week 4. It's better than where it started, but still not good enough. And here's where it gets even more frustrating for Bears fans. The officiating crew for Monday night is led by Alex Moore, who just so happens to be part of the most flag-happy crew in the entire league. We're talking over 115 flags thrown through 5 games, 13 more than any other crew. It's his first year as a head referee, and he's been throwing that flag like it's confetti. That's not what you want in prime time, especially when your own team already has discipline issues. Now, to be clear, not all penalties are created equal. Sometimes your corner gets beat, and you got to grab a jersey. Sometimes your offensive lineman is battling and gets called for a hold. That happens. You can live with some of those in the flow of the game. But it's the pre-snap errors, the avoidable ones. Those are the killers. And if you know this crew isn't going to let anything slide, you've got to be even more locked in. Fundamentals, technique, communication, that stuff has to be tight. If not, you risk letting a winnable game slip away just because you can't stay ahead of the sticks. And with how Washington plays defense, they'll feed off those mistakes. They're aggressive, they'll bring pressure, and they'll take advantage if you're behind schedule on downs. So the Bears can't afford to beat themselves. Not this week. Not on national television. The truth is, Monday night is a big moment for this team. Not just in terms of the standings or playoff implications, but in terms of identity. Who are the Bears going to be this season? A talented team still figuring it out? Or a disciplined, focused squad ready to take the next step? The answers to those questions might start with Caleb-Lovelin, because if he explodes the way many believe he can, the entire offense could open up in a way we haven't seen yet. But the matchup against Washington goes deeper than just the potential breakout of Caleb-Lovelin. This game is a pressure test for everything the Bears have been building, and in some areas, struggling through the first part of the season. It's about more than XS and OS. It's about execution, discipline, and finding out if this team can stop shooting itself in the foot long enough to capitalize on the talent it clearly has. Because that talent is there. The coaching staff believes in it. The fans can see it. But it's only going to matter if the Bears stop getting in their own way. Now let's talk about the quarterback, because all of this still runs through Caleb Williams. He's shown flashes of brilliance already. Big throws, elite movement in the pocket, creativity that you can't teach. But there's also been some rookie moments, missed reads, late throws, and a few miscommunications with his receivers. That's all expected. That's part of the learning curve when you drop a young quarterback into a new system with moving parts around him. But what the Bears are hoping to see now is growth. Not just in terms of stats, but in command. And that's where Lovelin can help. A tight end can be a quarterback's best friend, especially when things get chaotic. When protection breaks down or the coverage confuses the read, the tight end is often the safety valve. And not just a check down, a guy who can actually create yards after the catch, split defenders, and turn a broken play into a 20-yard gain. That's what Lovelin offers. That's what Caleb needs. Because while Rome Odunze can stretch the field and Cole Kim E.T. gives you toughness underneath, Lovelin can be the mismatch guy. The weapon that tilts the field in a different direction. The beauty of what Lovelin brings is that you don't have to scheme him open in complicated ways. You can line him up in the slot, put him in motion, use him in play action, isolate him against slower defenders, and he can still win. He's that fluid, that versatile. And when you've got a young quarterback who's still learning how to process NFL defenses, having a guy like that can smooth out the ride. Caleb just has to trust him. Put in his zip code, and more often than not, Lovelin will come down with it. So this week isn't just about getting him targets. It's about building chemistry, representatives, timing. And Monday night, under the lights, with everyone watching, that's the kind of stage where a quarterback and his tight end can start to form that unspoken connection. And once that happens, the rest of the offense starts to breathe easier. The windows get a little bigger. The play calls become more aggressive. And the pressure shifts to the defense to adjust. That said, there's another layer to this matchup. It's something the Bears haven't dealt with well all season. Mental mistakes. That includes penalties, yes, but also the little things. Missed assignments, poor communication on the offensive line, giving away alignments with predictable formations. These are the things that don't always show up in a box score, but they're the difference between a clean drive and one that stalls after 2 plays. And here's the thing. Washington's defense may not be dominant, but they're opportunistic. They're coached to fly to the ball, create chaos, and take advantage of sloppiness. If you're late on a throw, they'll jump the route. If your protection isn't clean, they'll send that extra blitzer. They're not the kind of team that's going to sit back and let you find a rhythm. You have to earn every yard against them. And if you're giving away yards with flags and missteps, you're playing right into their hands. That's why this officiating crew is such a critical storyline this week. When you're already among the most penalized teams in the league, and then you draw the most trigger-happy crew in the NFL, that's a problem. Not just because of the flags themselves, but because of how they change the flow of the game. Nothing kills momentum like a holding call on a 20-yard gain, or a false start that turns 3rd and manageable into 3rd and long. That stuff adds up. And when you're facing a defense that loves to blitz on 3rd and long, now you're in trouble. So what's the answer? Focus, precision, attention to detail. The Bears have had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. 2 weeks to clean up the pre-snap issues, to reinforce the fundamentals, to drill the cadence and motion and spacing until it becomes automatic. That's what this coaching staff has to hope kicks in now. Because this isn't the beginning of the season anymore. We're entering the meat of the schedule. The margin for error is getting thinner. The expectations are getting louder. And the opportunity to turn a corner is sitting right in front of them. It's also worth noting what a win in this spot would mean for the culture inside the locker room. Last year's loss to the Commanders still stings for a lot of guys. It was one of those games that felt like it slipped away. And now, with a new quarterback, new energy, and a chance to make a statement on national television, this could be a turning point. Not just for the record, but for belief, for confidence, for buy-in. Winning solved a lot of problems, and winning in front of the whole country sends a message. That message gets a whole lot louder if Caleb-Lovelin goes off. Because if he starts to look like the player everyone thought he could be when he was drafted, it changes everything. It adds a new dimension to the offense. It gives defenses another thing to worry about. And it gives Caleb another weapon to grow with. They're both young. They're both talented. And if they can build something together now, in these early stages, it could lay the foundation for something special. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A storm may be brewing in Chicago as whispers emerge from the Bears locker room. Sources close to the team suggest that tension reached a boiling point recently between star running back DeAndre Swift and rising quarterback Caleb Williams, resulting in what insiders are calling a heated altercation. The details remain murky, but the clash was reportedly intense enough that both players have been temporarily removed from team activities while management investigates. Eyewitnesses claim the disagreement took place during a routine locker room meeting, though the exact trigger is still unknown. Some speculate it might have been related to on-field decisions, while others hint at deeper personal friction that has been simmering beneath the surface for weeks. Whatever the cause, the incident has sent shockwaves through a Bears team already grappling with inconsistency on the field and a fan base hungry for stability. Team officials have been tight-lipped, offering only brief statements acknowledging that the players are away from team activities pending further review. While no formal disciplinary actions have been announced, sources suggest that the front office is taking the matter very seriously, aware of the potential impact on team chemistry and public perception. Social media is buzzing as fans debate whether this is an isolated clash or a sign of a larger cultural issue within the locker room. Memes and hot takes have multiplied, with some fans calling for swift reconciliation and others questioning how such friction could exist between two players of this caliber. Analysts are already weighing the implications for the Bears season. DeAndre Swift, known for his explosive running and ability to change games in an instant, has been a cornerstone of the offense. Caleb Williams, meanwhile, represents the future of the franchise, a dynamic quarterback whose leadership and skill have drawn nationwide attention. The absence of either, or worse, both, could disrupt defensive continuity and raise questions about the team's strategy moving forward. While it remains unclear how long the suspension will last or whether reconciliation is imminent, one thing is certain. The Bears' locker room drama is now the talk of the league. Coaches and teammates are reportedly urging calm, but the tension is palpable. For now, fans can only speculate, and the rumor mill is running at full speed. Will Chicago manage to navigate this storm, or is this the start of a larger upheaval? The coming days will likely provide answers, and the league is watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.